Welcome to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you like this watch and would like to purchase it at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at JazzTime.com. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the Rolex 1908 in yellow gold with a white dial reference 52508. I will talk to you a little bit about the history of the 1908. Then I'll tell you about the case bezel dial bracelet movement. Finally try it on and give you my thoughts. So let's start with the history. Now, the history of the 1908 doesn't go back very far. In fact, it only goes back 1 year, at least to 2023. That's when the 1908 was released. Now, you might think, well, why would I buy a watch that doesn't have very much history? Well, that's because this watch, even though it has a very low history, it is actually the successor to the very famous and very well-known model called the Cellini. That's Cellini. Which was discontinued back in around 2020 or 22 or something like that. And in its place, it took a few years before Rolex came out with the 1908. They gave the Cellini a bit of a break. As I said, they discontinued it in roughly like early 2020s. And then they reinvented it, rebranded it, changed the name, changed up some things, spiced it up a bit, narrowed the collection, made many less variations, and then they called it the 1908. Now doing that was a very smart idea because one, if they continue calling the Cellini had, like, I want to say maybe a 25-year run where they made many different variations. It was basically Rolex's dress line. They made many type of dress watches for it. It's their line that is on a leather strap. And they did so quite well with the Cellini, but I'll be very honest with you, the Cellini line never really caught on that well. The watches, there was too many variations, there were too many dial variations and just too many variations of it, and it just was not that great looking of a watch. It looked nice, but it didn't look that nice, not for the amount of money they were asking. And so eventually, let's be honest, the Cellini failed, and they had to rebrand the watch and redesign it, give it a new name, fresh paint of coat, and here we are, the 1908, which now does look very cool. Okay, and I'll go through the little specifics as I go through it. All right, so that's a little about the history. Now let's talk about where this watch stands in the lineup. Now, they're all 39 millimeters. To give you some reference, most of their date justs, or actually all the men's date justs, are all 41 millimeters, date just 41s, which are bigger than this. And then their mid sizes are all 36. So this stands right in the middle of that. And most of the professional or sports line watches are 40 millimeter. Now, as you can see, this is all obviously on a leather strap, and when the watch is on a leather strap, it makes the watch very dressy, or at least much more dressy. When I mean dressy, I mean like, you could wear a suit with it, a tuxedo, a fancy dress if you're a woman. It's not really your running and jogging watch. Now they're starting to compete with other big names such as Patek Philippe or Audemars Piguet in the dress watch realm. No longer are they only competing with sports watches in there, but with this line, the 1908, they're now in the dress watches, and rightfully so, because they do a very good job on it. And I'll go through the details, and you'll see why I exactly mean that. But basically, yeah, the 1908 comes all in 39. They don't make it smaller, they don't make it bigger, right? And they make it in white gold, yellow gold, rose gold, and platinum, but they don't make tons of different colors and variations like they did previously. For example, on the yellow one, they only do black and white, simple. And on the platinum one, they just do ice blue, that's it. And each one, they just do like, two variations. They don't do a whole lot. Like on the white gold, they just do black and white. That's it. They don't do a whole lot of variations. And why is that? Well, I think they want to keep the catalog slim. Actually, I'm sorry, they don't make rose gold, by the way. They only make yellow gold, white gold, and platinum. And they only make, in yellow gold, they're only making black and white. In white gold, they're making black and white. And platinum, they're making blue. I'm sure they're going to do more variations as the years go on, but at least right now, that's all they have. Okay, So that's a little bit about where this watch stands in the lineup. Okay, now let's start talking about the watch itself. Let's start with the case, 39 millimeters. Now, what do you think about it? Well, I think the 39 millimeter, as far as dress watch, is perfect. It's actually a perfect size. Now, Rolex is asking 23,000 retail on this watch, which is not a small amount. And so they are really actually competing with the big dogs here, such as Patek Philippe. If you look at a Patek Philippe Calatrava, the starting point is around 30,000. It's a little bit more expensive than this, but it's around the same price. And if you look at gray market prices, which is usually where most people are going to have to buy these watches because you cannot get them off the authorized dealer, this watch is selling in the high 20s, at least as of 2024. And if you look at the Calatrava, for example, the 6119, it's also selling in the high 20s. High 20s, maybe low 30s. So they're more or less the same. So what does that tell me? It tells me that the watch is competing very well with Patek Philippe, and it is a dress watch. Rolex is a big name. Patek Philippe is a big name. They're both two juggernauts in the watch community. Okay, anyways, look, the 39 millimeter, and by the way, if you look at Calatrava, Patek Philippe, which I consider the king of dress watches, even that better than that of Audemars Piguet. Audemars Piguet I consider the king of sports watches. Patek Philippe I consider the king of complications as well as dress watches. So Patek Philippe does their dress watch, their basic dress Calatrava in 39 millimeter. It's a great size, and Rolex followed suit. They also made a 39 millimeter, which is what you see here. Okay, 39 is from my thumb to my index finger, the longest distance across the bezel from the 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock position. Very nice size indeed. Okay, and let's talk about what makes this case interesting. Well, first, it's kind of your standard case in some ways, in that it's high polished. It looks kind of like an oyster case, but a little bit different. There's some, it's not as thick, and it's a bit, you see the lugs are a little bit more tapered than on, like, for example, a Datejust. So it's not like they just took a Datejust and slammed it on here. No, they redefined the case, but it still has the look of a Rolex. You can still tell the case has this very typical high polish and very simple lines. They're not creating a bunch of, strange, interesting lines. Like, for example, on the Audemars Piguet Code 1159s, they do an incredible case, insane amount of work on the case. Of course, those watches cost, $50,000, $60,000. This one cost 20, so they can afford to do that. But I'm just saying, it's still a beautiful case. It's a very simple case, don't get me wrong, but it's still a beautiful case, and that's okay because it's a dress watch. Okay, let's move on to the bezel. The bezel is quite interesting here. The bezel is domed and fluted. Rolex is known for making fluted bezels that they put on their Datejust. It's probably the most iconic look to the watch, but they also, in this situation, they make it look both fluted and domed. The top of it is domed and the very edges of it are fluted. Now, if they had just simply done a fluted bezel altogether, you might just think, well, what is the difference between this and a Datejust? I mean, they look the same, just the dial. No, what they did is they also adjusted the bezel. They divided the bezel so that you have a slim case crowned with a bezel that is part domed and part finely fluted. The lower part being elegantly fluted and the upper part being domed. That means the inside part is domed, the outside part is fluted. Another way to look at it is kind of looks like a coined edge, mill grain, if you will, M-I-L grain, mill grain look. They do this on jewelry too. Rolex has decided to do it on a watch. It's a really nice touch if you ask me, and it really makes the watch look very classy. And it gets a little bit away from the fluting, but still has a little bit of fluting, which helps it keeps the heritage or the DNA of the ever famous Datejust. I really think that they did a good job on the bezel here. Okay, that is the bezel. Now let's talk about the dial. Now the dial is just a white dial, and Rolex makes a white dial and a black dial. But I was gonna just tell you before I started doing some research on this that it's just a white dial, whoop-de-doo. No, but actually, you know what? As I see, Rolex has put a huge amount of marketing into it, and they're even saying that their white dial is a bright white or a super white. And they did all this stuff to, you actually have to watch the video to see all the stuff that they did. But they're basically just saying that their white dial is the very best that you can possibly achieve, and they've done it. And at first I thought, are you sure? But Actually, I agree with it. The white dial here really does look brilliant. It lasts, presumably, it'll stay bright like this. It'll look white, and just really looks fantastic. It's a very nice color in that it also matches everything. It's a neutral color. Okay, so that is the dial, and I might remind you here that it looks like the dial has a lot going on, but actually it only tells time. That's it. There's actually no date. So it is very similar to that of a Calatrava in that it just has the time, which is what the Calatrava, the latest one, the Hobnail 6119, if you're not sure what it is, that's okay. But it's basically the entry-level Patek. It's around the same price as this one, and this is, I believe, a direct competitor to it. And in some ways, I would even say this one's superior, and I'll tell you why in just a moment when we get to the movement. Okay, very legible dial, has both Arabic and index, and even has a 60-second counter at the bottom. It's just a nice way to separate, make use of the dial. If they didn't do this second counter at the bottom, then the dial might look a little bit empty. But putting this little sub dial at the bottom helps fill it up. It's a very nice touch if you ask me. Okay, let's look at the bracelet here. Now, you can order this one in black or brown strap. They can do either. Doesn't really matter. It's just a preference. And of course, actually, after you wear for this band for like a year, the strap is probably going to get changed anyways because the leather is going to start to stink or it's going to start to wear out, so you have to change it anyways. But what is more impressive, and actually one of the reasons why I say this watch is even better in some ways than the Patek Calatrava, is that the bracelet definitely is better. That's for sure. The bracelet on a Patek Calatrava, it's really shit actually. It's just a pin buckle, and it feels like a cheap pin buckle actually. It's very thin and just really whatever. But this one, it has a beautiful buckle. In fact, I believe that Rolex does one of the best buckles, if not maybe the best buckle on the market. The buckle is incredible, and I love the way that they did these curved. Where the bracelet attaches to the head, it's a little bit curved. And also you notice that it has this beautiful buckle. It's similar to the buckle that they use on other watches, but they attach it to the leather in this case. And it really makes it feel like an actual buckle as opposed to a pin buckle. It's very nice. It's incredibly nice actually. They did I think this is probably one of the nicest on the market in terms of integrating the leather strap with a buckle. They've done it seamlessly. And if you look at it from the outside, it actually does not look like a buckle. It actually looks like a pin buckle. So beautifully done on that one. Okay, now let's look at the movement. And this is actually the reason why I'm going to say I actually think this watch in some ways is on par or even exceeds that of the Patek. Because look at the movement. First of all, someone who doesn't know what they're talking about might say, oh, the Patek is so much better looking. You know what? How do you know? I actually think this one looks better. In what way? Well, the cutout rotor looks amazing. I think it looks fantastic. It allows viewing of the movement. On the Patek, they don't have that. The finishing on this, yeah, it's not like as exquisite as a Patek, but it's more modern looking. It looks like it's done recently. The Patek looks very dated, looks very old. Traditional, but okay. But anyways, let's not compare this. It's not a comparison video. Let's just say why this movement is nice. It fills the back of the case. It looks fantastic. It has a beautiful cutout rotor. And it's one of the few Rolexes that has an open case back. Only the 1908s and the Platinum Daytona have this. I suspect, however, Rolex is going to start doing this more often now that they realize that showing off their movement is an important thing. But it's just really nice to be able to look at the movement, see the balance wheel, see the bridge, see the Coteau de Genève finishing, see the beautiful jewels, the gears, them running back and forth. I mean, what else do you want? It looks great. Okay, anyways, look, it's time to try this watch on my wrist. Now I'm 6 foot tall, 200 pounds. I have a 7.5 inch wrist, and as you can see, even 39 millimeters, it still looks okay on me. Now some people think, oh, 39 is too small. No, it's a dress watch. This is not meant to be a sports watch in your face. It's supposed to be worn, as I told you in the beginning of the video, with a suit or some, fancy clothes. If you're a woman, a fancy dress, something like that. This is a dress watch, so it's not supposed to be, big and in your face. Okay, so it used to be understated. That's the whole point of dress watch, right? So look, if you like this watch and like to buy it at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at jazztime.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on show more to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.